You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Hello Sport Podcast. I'm of unqualified opinion and unwavering bias. Back for another week. Little late this week. Easter took it out of us. The Lord comes first. And, when Jesus is coming first, everything else falls into place. But unfortunately, that just pushed the podcast recording back. This is a Wednesday morning that it's coming to you. It's going to be a little shorter potentially today. You say that, though, who the fuck knows? It could be 3 hours longer. Joining me, joining you, joining us all, as always, someone that I, have known and loved for almost 10 years now, if not 10 years now. In fact, it might be 10 years now. You know him as Edward. I know him as Eddie. The one and only Edward Lloyd Simpson. How are you?
Tom, I'm very nice. I'm very good on this Wednesday morning. It's been longer than 10 years, buddy, but who's counting?
Sorry.
Who's counting? You know what I mean? I have to fucking... Anyway. That's all right. It's all right.
Okay. Really?
Anyway, a little awkward. That's all right. You know a bloke. But you're right, Tom. We do join the punter and the dribbler on a Wednesday morning. Jesus, a passionate lover, but, tends to come first.
Yeah. He has to
Can be a little selfish.
Selfish.
He can be a little selfish. But... I don't mind the Wednesday record. Not to say it's going to be a thing, but
No.
gives me a little more context around the week.
There's certainly where the midweek record is, I go, oh, okay, I can now review a bit of last weekend, but I also know the team lists. I know who's coming back. I know what's going on. I know, and we'll get into it, but like the stories about people's, scallywag behaviour maybe has a full 2 extra days to come to fruition, whereas on a Monday, we walk out of there and that's when the big news drops.
It always drops because big news drops on Monday afternoon. It's like a thing. I don't know if it's like an agreed thing. I don't know if the head honchos in the newsroom sit down and go, listen, we've got this scallywag behaviour. It's definitely a story, but we're only going to drop it on Monday afternoon because that's when scallywag behaviour is dropped. I don't know.
Or I think more so, Hello Sports finished recording. So let's drop it after
Too big,
them.
too powerful.
Yeah.
We need to put a muzzle on those boys because if we don't, they're going to take over.
Yeah.
Well, newsflash, bruh. Taking over anyway.
Exactly.
We don't give a fuck.
No.
We don't need news stories. We churn them out ourselves.
Correct. We create the news and break the news.
Yeah. Create it, break it, make it, set it up, whatever.
There you go. Sounded sick.
Insert term.
Yeah.
Insert term.
We'll get that put on a bumper sticker.
I was thinking, Tom, though, that it's always been a week since we went to Brookie. Can you fucking wrap your head around that?
Weeks go quick in rugby league, Eddie.
Yeah, they do.
They do. And look, for those of you that maybe aren't following our socials as closely as you should be, which is fucking disgraceful, Eddie and I were cordially invited by the club, Manly Sea Eagles, out to Brookvale on Thursday to watch Manly take on the Penrith Panthers. Now, we went out there full of piss, vinegar and excitement. Fair to say?
Fair to say.
How do you think we were received in the streets of Manly as we hopped on the ferry over and just sort of meandered our way through?
How do you think punters and dribblers? With raucous applause? Did a kid almost fucking kill himself running back?
We almost saw a young dribbler get hit by a car, which obviously I'm glad didn't happen, but it would have been a minor career milestone had he survived.
Had he survived intact?
Yeah, like it just, been stunned. I would have, if God had said to me, I can have him hit by the car, doesn't die, just stunned, maybe
maybe a couple of grazers.
Grazers and maybe like tears some sort of a ligament in his knee. Are you cool with that? I'd say let it happen.
Yep.
Because that's a notch on the career belt.
It is a
That's
notch.
like Bieber, Beetle fever. You know what I mean? That's dribblemania.
Yeah, that's dribblemania. That's a notch on the career belt for sure. But we also did tick off another one in the same breath. Father-son duo at first.
We got accosted. Accosted
Mick?
sounds bad. I think it was Mick and Declan. Now, if that's not it, It is now. So the Declan, the young man, he was the one that almost got hit by the car once he saw us, and then ran back across the road, not looking at traffic. While his dad, Mick, who was also...
Had a bit about him.
Mick, lovely man. Mick, someone that you wouldn't want to cross. Seemed like a very sweet man, but like if you were ever to like screw Mick over, he'd kill you.
Yeah.
Which made me feel safe because obviously I'd never screw Mick over.
I felt safe in Mick's arms.
I'd never screw Mick around.
No, absolutely not.
But
looked like they'd been at a long lunch.
They looked hammered.
If they hadn't been at a long lunch, I completely misread the situation.
Yeah, same.
You know, I'd had a couple of blokes by that point.
We'd had a couple of blokes, but
I still wasn't. I mean, I wasn't full to the brim.
No, you and I sort of just cruise around though, a couple of blokes deep anyway. So that's like a bit of a, normality. But we were in a rush to get to Brookvale because we had some things to do there, and so we got talking to Mick and Declan. Believe that's their names. Realised they were a father-son duo, and they didn't. I don't know whether Declan was like just dropping one-liner after one-liner. He was throwing out all the fucking shit. Mick really wanted to talk business, and we were like, Mick, we have to go.
I could have sat there and cracked a couple of blokes and talked to Mick,
Talk business with Mick, absolutely.
Business, you know what I mean? Put my business hat on and got down to brass tacks and yarned about the minutiae of the business world.
Correct.
I would have loved that, Tom. But we had places to be. Where did we have to be? Well, look, we were... performance isn't the right word. We were asked to speak before, what room was it?
The Chairman's Lounge at the Manly Warringah Seagulls. Now, shout out to, again, the Seagulls for having us. Obviously, our affinity for the club does not need to be explained. We live and die, we breathe Manly Seagulls. We were just going out there as a bit of like come out. They obviously know about us. We know about them. Come out for a bit of a game. Come out and watch the game. Then, because of the Byron Bay COVID outbreaks and shit, like injured players usually speak at the Chairman's Lounge, something like that. They couldn't do it. So they're like, do you want to get interviewed before the fucking game? We're like, sure. Why not? Just say yes to life, Eddie. You know what I mean?
Got to say yes to these things, I think.
Yes. Just say yes. Get there. As we get in there, you just sort of realise, like, oh, okay, the average, like the age demo of the room isn't really our crowd. Now, listen, we are 8 to 80. We're 8 to death, really, right? As soon as you can start listening to podcasts and understanding the language, to dead. That's our demo.
18 months to 80
plus.
9 plus.
That's our demo.
We can cover it.
Yeah.
But what age group are we known in? What are we known in?
Yeah. 18 to 45.
18 to 45. Now, were there many 45-year-olds in the room?
I'd say that'd be the youngest.
I'd say I think you're being generous, and that's no disrespect to everyone in the room.
No, there's no disrespect to anyone in the room.
45, if they were 45, they would have been pumped up.
Yes.
I think they were 75, most of them.
There were a lot of older gentlemen and ladies there. So anyway, the owner of the motherfucking club, Mr. Scott Penn, was there. He
introduced us.
He's very rarely even like in the country, let alone at these games. So did we feel like he flew back just for us? Yes. Did we feel the need to perform? Yes. Now, we were called up there and basically, just asked like a couple of questions about the club. It was very informal. We hadn't prepared a single thing. And we were like, okay, let's just hit them with some fucking gold here. Eddie.
Yeah. Let me go to the duffel and get my
unload
best stuff
some
out.
clips on this fucking crowd. Bang, bang, bang. Brad Parker's an ant. Bang, bang, bang. Kieran Foran and Daly. Jerry Evans.
Loving each other's bodies.
Bang, bang. Ruben Garrick's so hot. Bang, bang. Fuck Adam Fanua Blake. Bang, 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 bang. No one's laughing yet. No one's laughing yet. Go harder. Bang, bang. Fucking Des Hasler's hair's really good. Needless to say, the room was not exactly...
They weren't bubbling.
They weren't pissing themselves.
They weren't pissing themselves, no. Did we bomb? No.
I'm not saying that.
Fuck, no, we didn't bomb. There was light murmurs.
There was some giggles.
We got giggles.
We did get some giggles.
But giggles in isolation can often be worse.
Yeah. When the giggles don't drown out the sound of cutlery on plate.
And some bloke clearing his throat.
Yeah.
Look, you might know that you're getting isolated giggles. That's what I think we got. I still put it down to what we use in the industry term, Tom, as the stunned effect.
Yeah, true. As in, like, they were overawed.
They were overawed by our presence and by the quality of the dribble.
It's the only logical explanation that you and I had. For the rest of the night, racking our brains going, they must have just been overwhelmed by us, right?
They mustn't have gotten it.
Well, they certainly didn't get it.
Well, that's actually the reality.
That's the reality, is that they didn't get it. They didn't get it. Not our
that
crowd.
was my subconscious answering that question.
That was a Freudian
for you.
slip coming out there, unfortunately.
Freudian slip.
What really fucking put a nice bow on it at the end was as we like, thank you, all right, that's it, we're off. And we just sort of like walked off stage. The oldest guy in the room was just sort of like tapped us on the side of the shoulder. Like, well done, fellas. It's like, thanks, man. Thanks. Probably the guy who got it the least is the one congratulating us.
Great job.
Great job.
You might have said.
This guy was retired before we were born, and he was the one giving us some fucking congratulations.
Yeah, he wasn't in a good state, that bloke, like physically. But
well, he was old.
He was old.
Let's not have a crack at him. He's the only guy being nice to us in the room.
Not having a crack, just trying to convey to the punter and the dribbler, perhaps the demo that he was in. Look, it was an interesting 5 minutes, an interesting 5 minutes in my life, an interesting 5 minutes in the storied career of Tom and myself. Yeah. Not the first time we've thrown ourselves to the wolves, as it were.
No, that's probably the least. That's probably the only time.
What about the
Zelko?
Zelko was.
Yeah, but there was no one in that room. That was an empty room. So that was at least. Of course, no one's laughing. No one's here. But if they were here, they'd be pissing
Zelko
themselves.
and his mates up the back.
We did a live show with Zelko Kalic, who, if you don't know who Zelko is, don't hold that against yourself.
He was the backup goalkeeper for the Socceroos for many years. Just to really. Well, that's context.
That is context.
And Zelko would be happy with me saying that because he knows.
Well, that's exactly what he was. You're not lying.
I'm not lying.
Many years might be a lie, but he was certainly there for a while.
Anyway,
we were doing the live show, and we were doing a live show with Zelko, but we were doing a bunch of live shows at the what's the bar called?
It's a pub in.
It's a pub on King Street, South King. Fuck, I can't remember it, but they're good dudes there. And we did a 4-week thinger. We had Josh Reynolds 1 week talking Origin. Then we did one that was just you and I talking Origin. Then we did one where it was like, oh shit, we don't have a guest. And like 2 hours before, I fucking managed to get a hold of Zelko Kalic's number, of all people. And I just called Zelko out of the blue, never met him, never spoken to him. But Zelko, strange request here, bruh. You want to come be interviewed at a pub in Newtown for $350 cash. And he said yes. So Zelko came down. It was pissing rain. No one in the bar. No person there.
Except Jack Archdale.
Except Jack Archdale, who is a fucking lord for that. Drove down on his motorbike and almost made it sadder.
It made it way sadder.
It made it way sadder. We had our mate Jarch sitting there at the front, and then Zelko up on stage with us, and then 3 people in the back of the room. And they were Zelko's mates who didn't give a fuck. So it was just us. Basically, we just turned it into a podcast in a big room where they also served beer.
And never released it.
Never released it. Well, they fucked the audio, I think, so.
All we're saying is we've been there before.
Yeah.
This room was significantly more crowded. But the response, probably about the same. In terms of like audible.
Yeah. Like laughs.
Recorded.
Yeah.
But better for the run.
Much better for the run. It was and it was good fun anyway.
What would I change, you might ask? Fuck all.
No.
I'd get up there and I'd do it all again until they got it.
Yeah. I would have gone longer.
I would have gone longer and be like, okay, so you're not really au fait with dribble and yarn? Well,
here we go.
Sit down for an hour and a half and let me work you through it.
Bank West, steepest stadium in the land.
Yeah. Get your protractors out.
Yeah, exactly. Get your protractors out. Pekowski, the Balkan Bulldog. Let me tell you about him. The Dark Angel, David Warner. I know we're talking cricket now, but that's how deep into the duffel bag I'm going. I'm digging into summer now. The Marsh Brothers, Swamp Junior and Swamp Junior Junior. Haven't said their names for a while. They haven't been playing. But that's how deep into the duffel bag we're going. Real deep. Snorting, growling, howling, prowling. Anyway.
Yeah, what does that mean?
What's that mean?
Well, how long you got? Yeah. Oh, you have unlimited time? Perfect.
Kickoff's about to start. Well, come on, let's be honest. No one's fucking watching this game.
No one watches the first half.
Anyway, so that went well. Afterwards, we then just got to go up into the stands and enjoy watching rugby league football. We got sent up to the old boys stand, the Golden Eagles stand. Shout out to Mark Bryant. Box. Shout out to Mark Bryant, former Manly Sea Eagles.
One of the nicest bloke going around.
Front rower, premiership winner, nice bloke. Wolfman was there as well.
Yeah, we did.
Wolfman was there. Shout out to Wolfman.
And then plenty of blokes from an early generation.
From a bygone era.
Who, probably a little confused as to why Tom and I are in the Golden Eagles.
Well, they just called us podcast guys.
Yeah, we were podcast guys all night. But we had a fucking terrific time because no one can spin a yarn like those blokes.
There's
I don't
something
know what
about
it is. I don't know if your yarns get better with age, like a fine wine.
Maybe it's like you're working on your stand-up set, Maybe you just hone that story, you cut all the fat, and then before you know it, it's like... Because they were telling some yarns...
They were dialed, those stories.
They were dialed in. They were dialed in. We knew that wasn't the first time these stories were being told, but by the end of the night, and again, I wish I remembered their names. I apologise, but in fairness, they didn't remember ours, and also in fairness, they probably retired before we were born. They had some fucking ripper stories, and they were hanging shit on each other like it was going out of fashion. And there was... we were just calling them the Electrical Brothers, weren't they? There were a couple of brothers. Told us a story about how one of them got electrocuted. Then they were telling the story about how another one has a tiny dick, and it was just like...
I think that was the same bloke.
Mwah.
But yeah, look, are we giving, are we doing the stories justice?
Definitely
Probably not.
Definitely not.
But what we are saying is, unless you're invited to the Golden Eagles box, you can't hear them.
Correct.
So that's what we're saying. Are we also masking for the performance on field? Are we dancing around that, skipping around that?
We're trying to just manoeuvre. Sorry. Coming around here. Just don't want to talk about the 40 fucking point loss we had on Thursday night. Yeah, we didn't play well.
No, we didn't play well.
I haven't been playing well for the last 4 weeks, Eddie.
No, I don't think so. I think now, at this point in the season with, 4 consecutive losses and to be honest, some pretty mediocre rugby league football, Tom.
Yeah,
that lacked effort and commitment and passion
pride
for the club and the jersey and the crest. I sit before you and not in an alarmed state. Certainly not.
Alert, not alarmed.
I'm alert.
My ears are pricked up.
Whoop. Like I'm aware that there might be someone in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, is that someone downstairs? Oh, look, do I grab the shotgun now? Or what's right? Hold on. Okay, all right. But I'm
reaching for the shotty.
Yeah, I've certainly got my hand on the shotgun.
Am I prepared to use it? Not yet.
Not yet.
No. But my hand is around the barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I look around the rest of the rugby league competition and I see weakness everywhere, so I'm not alarmed, I'm alert.
Yeah.
If you don't get the reference. Because obviously the Bulldogs are fucking appalling, so are the Cowboys, so are the Broncos. There's room to move.
Yeah.
I see the Warriors this week without Adam Fanua-Blake, and I think this could be the springboard we have needed.
Yep.
We get 2 points here. Tommy Trbojevic comes back next week. That's a 40-point differential on any given Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you did use a movie term there.
Yeah. Great movie.
And I think we come back. But that performance on Thursday night, I'm not going to lie anymore.
No, I think
it was fucking dog shit.
Yeah. We've got to a point now where, like, you know what, like, we've come in here week after week, putting positivity out on the plates of the punter and the dribbler, rolling out positivity, and unfortunately sometimes you got to use the stick. We've been using the carrot. I've never completely understood the reference, but I guess the carrot's like a nice thing. Like, here you go, eat the carrot, stop fucking playing shit. Now it's stick time.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. The carrot is, oh, look, if you play well, you get a carrot. Clearly the carrot's not working. We've got the stick out now.
Hopper huddles time.
Yeah, it's hopper huddles time. Get in the huddle or you're going to get bashed. Now, that's probably what the club needs at this point. I fully trust that Des has got the boys in hopper huddles.
I think so. He's got Hopper down to the club to fucking flog a few of them. I would just say that, like, the tough spot is that picking the same side every week seems to me to be like we have no other option below the top 17 players outside of Tommy. Like, it's better off that we just keep rolling out this side who ain't doing it than going and digging any deeper, because we don't have anyone that's made of the right stuff below the top 17. But no one seems to be actually fucking sacking up, except for like when you see Jake in the huddle screaming at fucking people and no one's looking at him, you're like, I was looking at Jake. I was looking at him.
Anyone who watched that video was looking at Jake going, what the fuck is going on? The man is literally about to burst out crying. He's so passionate about the club and the...
Tell you what, he would have been laughing if he was in the fucking chairman's lounge. Where was he? That was what the chairman's lounge was like for us. Was just us talking and yelling at people and no one looking.
Yes, exactly right.
So we know how Jake feels.
We do. And we sympathise with you, Jake, because you deserved better, and you know you do. But to be rolling out the same side every week, Tom, is concerning. I'm a little alarmed.
You're alert.
I'm alert, not alarmed, you're right, about the fact that Cade Cust isn't starting with the 9 on his back, because like we've always said, and I'll say it again for those that are new to the podcast, every good rugby league team worth its salt has a Cade in it.
Correct.
Now, you could argue he's coming off the bench. I don't think that's good enough. I think in times of need, you turn to a Cade.
You always turn to a Cade. But what I don't understand is, why not just try it? Because we're getting fucking pumped. So why not try it? I'm not even having a crack at Lachlan Croker, right? Like, it's not his fault. There's so much going wrong. It's not Lachlan's fault, but in every other position on the field, we kind of, save for maybe like the centres, every other position on the field, we have the best players playing at our disposal, essentially, you would say, probably, without knowing the fucking reserve players I've never heard of. But Cade and Croker, there is an argument to be made that maybe they are like, Cade came on and played really well. So maybe it is, you could make the argument to just give him a go start in the fucking game, as opposed to just keeping. He didn't even start the fucking season. He was in reserve grade to start the season. Is Cade fucking pissed off Desi?
What have you done, Cade? What have you done?
Let's not victim blame. Who knows if Cade has done anything?
He may well have done nothing. But he may have,
He may have also been naughty. I don't know. But that's completely just us speculating wildly on nothing. I think Cade should at least be starting. Morgan Harper, I think, is in the side for Moses Sully. Don't know if that's injury related or not. So, I mean, if it's not injury related, then that's a change. And they're saying that Moses isn't playing that well. I think that's probably true. I don't think fucking Moses is playing well at all. Then I think Morgan Boyle's out. I don't know if that's an injury. Again, I mean, fucking whatever. Like, we're just getting fucked. We're just getting fucked. I love Manly and everything, but we're getting fucked. So the only silver lining to that whole thing was that we were in the Golden Eagles box with club legends, which is where we felt was appropriate for us to be. And, we basically just missed a lot of the game. Had a lot of bets on. None came off.
We had a lot of bets on, none came off. I had a great fucking night, Tom.
I had a great night.
They rolled out all the favourites, the sausage rolls, the meat pies.
The skewers.
I had a beautiful, was it sort of like a chickeny?
Yeah, it was chicken skewers.
Chicken skewer, which was glorious.
On the blokes all night.
There was a chicken rice dish for the main, which was terrific.
Yeah.
And we fucking worked our way through schooners, which was fun. So all in all, a great night.
Yeah.
A fucking great night, but not for the club.
Not for the club. But for you and I and the history of the podcast,
Yeah. For those not playing.
Correct.
Well, look.
For those in the Golden Eagles box
That's
and
right.
for those in the Chairman's Lounge getting to watch our performance.
But look, we turn to the Warriors, the 6 p.m. game. That's obviously, the game of the round. They put all the heavy hitters in the 6 p.m. slot. I think we get the win. 13 plus this week, boys.
I'm very bullish on 13 plus. I know that sounds like just utter horseshit dribble, but trust me.
If not now, then when?
Yeah.
Ask yourself that.
Without Adam Fanua-Blake, without Chanel Harris-Tavita, who's been injured for a couple of weeks, Bailey Sirinen, who's been playing very well for the Warriors, out injured, and Bunty Afoa, who's also a big, thick boy, also out. Manly needing to lift for a myriad of reasons.
At Central Coast Stadium, which is where we love to play our football under the palms.
It's a double home game. It's the Warriors home game technically, but it's a Manly home game.
Because the Central Coast region loves the club.
We own the north of this state.
That's right. So I ask again, punters and dribblers, I ask again, if not now, then when?
I'd also like to just put this as a little question out to the Manly Seagulls, punters and dribblers that follow us and follow this podcast. If we were to get a hat made that said Manly 13 plus on the front with an eagle, would you buy one? Don't answer now.
Don't answer all at once.
Don't answer all at once. Just think about it. Now, Eddie, before we get into the rugby league, obviously we need to talk about our own personal lives because we are self-indulgent and we need people to know what we've been doing.
Oh, you're still in the intro? You are.
Correct. Still in the intro. Not even in the fucking real thing yet. Welcome.
Shock. I went back to Dubbo. Dubbo was great. Dubbo was good. Dubbo was splendid. However, got a bit of a complaint.
Did they welcome you back?
Of course. Well, I actually ran into a dribbler at the Indian. I think it's called the Indian Resto Bar. Fucking terrific. Now, there is a pilgrimage to go to Wollongong to go and, pay your respects to the Son of Christ, grandson of God, St. PVL, the plug down there. We all know that. We all know that. There is now, I think, in some ways, a second pilgrimage, more of an unofficial one, but a pilgrimage nonetheless, to the Indian Restaurant Bar in Dubbo. You could probably tack that on with the trip to the zoo. This Indian is fucking sensational.
Is there a reason why it's become a pilgrimage for the punter and the dribbler, or just because it tastes good?
Just it tastes good.
Jesus Christ. All right.
If you find yourself there.
If you find yourself in Dubbo, and if you find yourself in Sydney, it's Indian Home Diner. It's only Indian joints.
Now, the fucking cheesy naan there, I just need to double down.
Of course.
If you dip the cheesy naan into the butter chicken sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh. You will say to yourself, take me now. You will say that. So that was great.
So you met a dribbler there?
Yeah, met a dribbler.
Did you hold a door open
I opened the door, yeah.
Because there's someone sent a message in saying,
I don't know. Am I a fucking gentleman like all the time? Yeah, I am. Was hoping he had the door open for a dribbler who was in need of a door opening. He walked out. I think he said, thanks, dribbler. I'm like, you're fucking welcome, mate. And then we sort of looked at each other and then off he went. So that was lovely. Had a fucking ball. But bit of a bone to pick, Tom.
Yep.
Need to pick a bone.
With your hometown.
Not with the hometown, with the route to the hometown.
Oh, yeah.
The Bells line of road, my choice of road, Tom.
Yep. The official road of the podcast.
It's the official road of the podcast.
When heading west.
When heading west across the Great Dividing Range, one must always turn to the Bells line of road. Not on this occasion. The motherfucker has been closed. There was a landslide, and it's thrown the whole fucking trip into chaos.
There's a landslide in Bells.
There was a landslide during the big, the pouring rain. Obviously,
the rain bender.
The rain bender. We live in Australia where infrastructure projects and, road maintenance projects are slow. I think that's fair to say. So it could be out of action for a year or two. But
great.
It completely fucked me. Like, I was cruising along Friday morning. I'm like, mate, we'll be good to go here. Like, everyone would have left the night before, I told myself naively.
That is such like positive reinforcement. Like, nah, you'll be fine, man. Don't worry. Everyone's gone the night before. No one's like you.
No one's like you wants to leave at a nice cushy 9:30, 10 a.m. on Friday.
Feels like sleeping in and just fucking driving.
Yeah, exactly. Got into the mountains and it was fucking chaos. Like around Lura and Katoomba, it was literally a standstill. We were trying to take all these back streets, like Google winding me through fucking, the back streets of Katoomba and Lura and shit. Did absolutely nothing. I added like 3 hours of the trip. It took me about 9 hours to get home. That was great. Well, 4 hours it added. Usually a 5 hour trip. So,
great start.
Great start. Other than that, good to see the fam.
I'd prefer to be doing like extra driving though and be moving than stuck in traffic.
Funny you should say that because on the way back we went through the Hunter Valley for that reason.
And it was better, I
It was
assume.
better, yeah. much
How
better.
long?
To get back, it was like... Stopped a lot because Tonka likes to stretch his legs. Still took like fucking 7 hours to get back.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 8 hours maybe. It was fucked, mate. I've figured it out though.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Punters and dribblers, if you're listening, this is the way to do it. I think.
Tune in. Get a pen and paper.
Get a pen and paper. If you live in Sydney, I can't speak for the other cities. I assume they're the same. But if you're leaving Sydney on the Easter long weekend specifically, get up at Sparrow's Fart on Friday morning, like leave at 6, I think you'll be all right, and then come back on the Tuesday. Just take an extra day, come back on the Tuesday.
Okay. Come back on the Tuesday. Now, some people would say to you, Eddie, I have a job, so
I said take an extra day.
Oh, so yeah, exactly. So I've got to take an extra day of fucking leave.
Yeah.
Right?
There's
Luckily,
no alternative.
I don't have to do that because basically we are the bosses. So we can do what we want. But I actually have a different school of thought, except I agree with you on the Friday one. Leave early Friday. That's what this daddy did. Did still get stuck in some traffic. I went to Tumut.
What time did you leave though?
I left, mate, I ended up leaving like 8:30.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Got to leave at 6.
But I was, correct. But for a, 5-hour-ish trip to Tumut, it only added like an extra hour maybe for me. So I was pretty good. The Sydney to Barrel part of the trip
Hume
was,
Highway.
that was, I could have fucking jogged quicker than every car. But other than that, it was all right. Stopped off at the Sutton Forest McDonald's and filled my depressed boots a la About Even. If you haven't watched it, you've got to, losses bring McDonald's meals. But anyway, got down to Tumut, long drive. We're going there to see Steph and Steph's uncle, auntie. They got a lovely farm down there. Steph and her mum and Evie went the night before so Evie could sleep on the drive. Daddy went to the Manly game, got hammered, and then drove in the morning. Get down there, all good, lovely to see the fam and everything. And then at about fucking 6:30, I just start to feel like, ooh, in your body, you start to feel like aches and shit. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm not engaging in conversation. I'm like, you feel like you want to. You're with like your partner's family or whatever, and you're like trying to, and I just couldn't. And I'm like, what the fuck? Then we go to put Evie to bed, and I'm just like, I just lay on the bed for a second and just get hit with this wave of like chills. And I'm like, oh no, what is this? Like, I've been here for fucking 3 hours. And I'm just like shivering in bed. And I'm like, fucking, you can't stop moving. You've like fucking Parkinson's disease. And then you start getting a temperature. And I'm just like, fuck this. I'm going to bed. I'm like, Steffi, I'm not coming back out. I'm going to bed. Temperature kicks in. It's like 39. And then I'm just trying to tag like Panadol and water and shit. Then a couple hours later, the temperature's gone. I still feel sick, but I'm like, oh, the temperature's gone. All right, this is weird. Wake up the next day, still feeling a bit sick, sort of have a sleep in. By 2 or 3 the next day, fine. Like, I was never ill. So I'm like, what the fuck? Am I like the quickest healer in the world? Am I like Wolverine? So, fucking sweet. Let's play on. Have a few drinks, enjoy the night. Then the next morning, same thing, go have a little drive around to the Tumut Dam.
Cute.
Look at the break wall. Fucking whatever, you know what it is? Like just having a bit of a cruise. Look at the trout farm.
Sure.
The rope bridge or whatever it's called.
Love that. Good family stuff.
Good family shit. And then at about fucking 1 o'clock on the Sunday, shivers come back.
The double.
The shivers come back, the aches come back, it all comes back. And I'm like, fuck this. Back in bed. We're leaving Sunday night. This is the thing that you don't have with your Easter routine. We leave late the Sunday night. Now, this is largely due to the fact that we have a child and we wanted to sleep because driving 8 hours with a kid that's awake in the car is a fucking nightmare. Anyway, so we come back Sunday night. I'm completely fucked. And poor old Steffi's got to drive. Anyway, back in Sydney, all good. Wake up Monday. I'm still sick. But now Evie's sick. And she's shivering, or she's like got a temperature and shit. Once your kid's sick, like once Evie was sick and we're like, oh, temperature's high, like it sort of was like, I just forgot I was sick. That was like the end of it. The second she got sick, I was no longer sick because it was like, I don't have time to worry about me.
Yeah.
Which sounds like I'm trying to put myself up on a pedestal as like a holier than thou individual, which I am, but not my intention. Just went. But dude, so she got the temperature, given her like Panadol and shit, would only go down a little bit. Then by the end of the day, her temperature got to 40.
That's high.
Dude, high as shit. And you're feeling this little thing, and she was like a little, like kids are sent home from school on a 40-degree day. This baby's 40 degrees. Hot as fuck, her little body in her head, and she's like got a really bad nappy rash because she's got like 5 teeth coming through at the same time, and that can cause nappy rash. I don't know, do your own research on that. But anyway, the poor little thing was just in a fucking shit fight. And then once it hit 40, we were like, she's never. This is the sickest she's been. We're like, oh, what the fuck do we do here? So we went to emergency. Took her to emergency.
Is that par for the course usually? Emergency
for a 40-degree? No.
Yeah.
So it was definitely worth doing because now we are. We've got more like knowledge at our disposal as to like how to handle this shit.
Yeah.
First time parents, I'm like, we were on the phone to a couple of people and they're like, listen, use your intuition. If the thing was like, basically went to emergency, it was all good after a while. Like they gave her some medicine and shit and the temperature came down a little bit, but only really, and I don't know how she is today because I left before she woke up, but like the temperature only came down like 48 hours after it started. Like she had it for a long time. But what they said was that kids can actually like be okay with a high temperature sort of in isolation. Like if she was still able to like smile, be herself, have a bit of a laugh, feeling sick, like you can tell she's sick, but she's like still walking around, you know, she's still eating. If there's all those things are all okay, then like the temperature itself is actually just her body trying to fight off whatever the fuck it is, which it sounds like Dad gave her.
Did you reckon you got it from Macca's?
No, I think I got it from Steph because Steph was a little bit crook the week before as well.
Week before's a long time, Tom.
No, it was in like, if I got it on the Friday, Steph had it on the Tuesday, Wednesday.
So you're not blaming Sutton Forest Macca's?
Fuck no.
Okay.
Perish the thought. Anyway, I just want to say shout out to mums that look after sick children because Steph had to deal with a sick baby, which is her priority, but also a fucking 150 kilo sick baby in myself. And just seeing like mums go the big lift when kids are sick. It gives you a newfound appreciation for what your parents would have done for you when you were sick because you now see it. You're like, oh, God, I would have been a pain in the ass to deal with when I was sick. But just seeing how mums just go like, all right, bing, switch, and they're on.
How are you considering after what you've gone through, are you considering a transition to an all-natural tank water diet? Being AE?
I mean, it's certainly something that we're running up the flagpole at the Birmingham household because after you reminded me yesterday that you don't get sick, I was like, you actually don't get sick. Nope. And your old man...
Never got sick in his life.
Chilton Simpson, never been sick in his goddamn life, reared on tank water.
And passed it on to me. Thank you, Father. But there's something in it.
Kempy was saying his old man was reared on tank water, doesn't get sick.
Well, Kempy's old man holds the record for most years without taking a sick day. He's up to 45.
Most days without a sick day, and it's in the years. That's what's funny.
Yeah, most days, 45 years without a sick day. Holds the record, undisputed.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Never
reared
to
on
be
tank
broken.
Water.
Yeah.
Reared on tank water. So it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I'd urge all young parents to turn to tank water.
Yeah. Throw a couple of possums in there, gum leaves,
Rats. Et al. A
couple of roaches, moths and shit.
Yeah,
You can get a real good brew going.
That's right.
And some hot Australian sun.
That's right. Cook it in a Bushman's, preferably.
Look, ideally you want it to be a metal tank.
Bushman's?
Yeah, Bushman's metal tank. But Bushman's moving into plastics and poly,
We
whatever.
don't do poly on the podcast.
No.
We do good Aussie tin.
Yeah. Because you want some of that metallic breakaway into the water as well.
Well, it heats the water into a nice, cool, like a lukewarm bath.
Exactly. You want it as a nice warm bath, and then you have it cool when it's in the copper piping of the household, if you can get it in that way.
Sure. Look, it's up to you.
It's up to you.
It's up to think about.
Now, Eddie, is that the intro?
That's the intro, Tom. That's the intro, mate.
Now, Eddie, there's a couple of things to get to in rugby league. Sure, there were some games on the weekend. Sure, there were some blowouts. Sure, there were some teams playing worse than others, some teams playing better than others, some lucky wins, you could even argue. But I like that the rugby league world, now we're into it. We're into the season. We're into the grind. We're into the bloody, we're going set for set with the season, you know what I mean? Like up and back, get to your kicks.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to get some rugby league stories, some of the shit the rugby league fan really likes to sink their fucking missing teeth into. And that's some of the yarn as opposed to just the game results. Now, there's a few of these. I'd like to start off with one that I think warms the hearts of people the world over, and that's Bronson Xerri of Molten Piss fame. Now, we know Bronson unfortunately made the mistake of heating up the piss to, to center of the core of the earth sort of temperatures in an attempt to return from injury. Got banned for 4 years from ASADA.
Innocent mistake. Young
kid, world at his feet, needed to come back from an injury, heated up the piss. We've all not been there, but you know what I mean.
We all sympathise with that.
We sympathise with it. Bronson now transitioning his focus to the NFL because he's out of rugby league for 4 years, and many people may not know this, but the NFL don't give a shit about what you do. Neither do the NBA, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that NBA and NFL, it's like we test very little. And, like Julian Edelman, who plays for the Patriots, won a bunch of Super Bowls. He was suspended for 3 games for steroids, I'm pretty sure. Do your own research on that. Matt, if anything comes up there, I know that this is not your job. D or Dave not here today. Could you just look up Julian Edelman suspended for steroids in the NFL? Probably worth noting, D or Dave not here today. Dave on holiday.
Dave hanging out with...
Dave doing mushrooms on holiday.
Yeah, that's right. According to the messages he sent us this morning, he's found another...
he's found his people.
He's found a posse of rat bags while out snorkeling, I think, and they all got on the mushrooms together. Now, I don't know if his parents were there or not. Seems a little, different, but power to Dave, making friends.
Dave doesn't struggle to make friends.
Sorry, I missed what you...
Yeah. I just wanted to see how long Edelman... So he plays for...
He was suspended for 4 weeks for using...
4 weeks for peptides. Injury recovery.
That's the thing about the NFL and the NBA. If the steroids are helping you get bigger and faster and more entertaining, and it's helping you come back quicker so that, our superstars are playing the game more, they don't give a fuck.
But I don't really either. There's an element for me where I'm going, and I've heard people say this, I'm not saying this, right? This isn't me. This is what I've heard. This is an alleged, do your own research. But people going, how do you think LeBron James is still the number 1 player in the game at fucking 37? He's been doing it at this level and he is now 37. It's almost, fucking 20 plus years, right? Again, I'm not saying that he is doing this, and he is also a genetic freak, all those things. But
terrific work ethic.
Terrific work ethic, yeah, sure. $1 million a year on his body, whatever. But there is an argument, or I could see how they would all be fucking doing something, or a lot of them doing something. And the NFL, they're all fucking huge. Again, could all just be completely genetic freaks. But as you can see, Edelman, 4 weeks for peptides. I don't mind it. As you said, why not?
So, are you saying then that Bronson, in some ways, going to be with his people?
Maybe.
Is that one way of looking at it?
Is this sort of like a, come home, Bronson?
Come home to your people, come back to people that understand your plight.
Yeah, we get it, dude. It's all good. We don't give a fuck over here.
Oh, you got banned for 4 years for trying to, quicken up an injury?
Come back from injury? Quick up at the cadence?
That's odd. Now, that's all by the by. What is exciting and what I think gives this story real pep.
And heart.
And, reeks of a Hollywood movie. Or maybe a Screen Australia movie.
I think I'm smelling Logie Awards fucking left, right and centre, and I can't smell.
Maybe a mini-series.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll play Bronson and you play Roger Fabry.
Yeah, I'll play Roger. I have to play Roger.
Yeah, that's right. Bronson teamed up with Bronson's teamed up with Roger Fabry. which some of you may know.
Do you know who Roger Fabry is? If you don't, then you're living under a rock, metaphorical or otherwise. But Roger Fabry is the premier sprint coach on planet Earth.
King of Cadence, they call him.
Yep.
King of Cadence, who, by the way, has since been followed by Usain Bolt. So make of that what you will. The King of Cadence, the King of Sprinting, the man who puts them all on the map, now followed by Usain Bolt.
Makes sense. Now, Bronson, exiled from the NRL. Roger Fabry, King of Cadence. You put these two people together, and Bronson fast as fuck. You put these two people together, throw in a little bit of Usain Bolt for some Hollywood magic, over to the NFL, and I'm excited for Bronson. They love hot piss over there. Bronson loves hot piss.
They love Roger Fabry.
They love Roger Fabry.
They love Cadence. Like, why do you think they put so much emphasis on the 40-yard dash?
Yeah.
They fucking live for that shit over there. It's what gets them out of bed.
And I saw Bronson being interviewed by Danny Weidler of Always Gets Himself in the Shot fame. And Bronson looked jacked. He looked fucking humongous.
Bronson's a specimen.
He's
bro.
a specimen.
He's 100% a specimen.
Yeah.
How do I think he's going to go in the NFL? Fuck, I don't know. He's never played the game. So you could argue it might be tough for him. But when you're a specimen, first and foremost, when you've got Usain Bolt in some way in your corner, I know it's a long bow,
but
but
technically.
he is there. And you've got the King of Cadence, Roger Fabry, guiding you and your journey. Is he a shot? Yeah, I think he might be.
Is Roger Fabry Bronson Cherry's Customato? Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yes, he is. And if you don't know who Customato is, you're a fucking
we're not
Give
fucking,
up
yeah.
if you don't know who Cuss is.
We're not doing it for
I'm
you.
not doing it for you. Yes, he is, Tom. Yes, he is. Do you think Bronson has an affinity for pigeons?
Probably. If he didn't before, he does now.
He has to now.
He has to now. Tyson's getting involved. So Bronson now looking for a hobby, races, rears, and grooms pigeons. While all under the watchful eye of a Roger Fabry, Customato, whilst chasing his dream of boxing NFL.
With cameos from Usain Bolt.
With cameos from Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt. Who would Usain Bolt be in that persuasion? Don King.
Now we've got something. Now we've got something
meaningful here.
Yeah. All right. This is something I can sell to Screen Australia execs.
Yeah. Endemol Shine or whatever the fuck they are. That's like the fucking company. You see it like come up after like all your Win TV shows and shit. It's like Endemol Shine.
Sure.
That's Bronson. Good luck to Bronson. I fucking love it. You know what? If you can find a way to still live your life when something like this happens, like no one really deserves anything this bad from these sort of things. The steroid cheat thing, like, it's things that are taken so seriously in like when in reality, like it's just sport. Even though I say that we all love sport, like, you know, to have your life completely fucked, there's just something about that you still somehow feel like
4 years is a long time.
Punishment doesn't necessarily fit the crime, really, if you just take a step back from everything, even though cheating is fucked. Or, you know,
there's
not
levels to it, though.
Yes.
He's not Lance Armstrong with this shit. You know what I mean? He's just a bloke who's trying to come back a little earlier from an injury.
Yeah, I know. But, like, also Lance Armstrong was, you could argue Lance was as fucking hard done by as anyone in the fact that, like, every single person he beat
but it's how Lance went about it.
True.
Lance used to sue people and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Lance sued his masseuse.
Yeah, Lance was a fuckwit.
Lance
With the greatest
was
respect
a
to Lance.
fuckwit.
Really should have called him Lance, shouldn't I?
You should have.
But I didn't.
There you go. Just shows you're putting it all on.
Yeah, completely. Now, on to other things pertinent to rugby league, Eddie. Great to see that, you know, the NRLW has taken the world by storm. It's been a great inclusion into the game. The women in rugby league are so important to the game, even just away from like the players, right? Mums, wives, sisters, fucking family who, you know, in the early stages, it used to be about mums and that getting kids to games and helping out and, but now we've got women's rugby league at the forefront of the competition. It was only a matter of time before stories like this, good news stories like this started coming through. And what better club to do it at than the Sydney Roosters, who are a marquee club in the competition. Now, a female player from the Roosters whose name has escaped me. Matt, could I... Nita Maynard. Now, Nita has been arrested and charged with, I believe, assault for bashing a couple of security guards outside of where? Northies, another rugby league, sort of staple. So, I mean, was this the sort of natural evolution? When we're talking about pay parity, we're talking about fucking, equity in the game, or equality, sorry. This was just a natural, these are the things you want to see. If you're the bigwigs at NRL, it's like, all right, we need to get women in the game. Bang, we've got women playing. Now we just need to get there. On-field performances up to a certain standard. Now, they're not there yet, but they're getting there, right? Getting better and better. Well, now what about off-field? We need to start seeing some women in the headlines. We need to start, they need to start bringing some sort of a promotional dollar value to the game of rugby league.
Is it Anita?
Nita, I believe.
Now, Nita, from where I'm sitting, seems like the smartest chick in the room because she's recognised that a lot, not all, but a significant amount of revenue that the NRL generates is off the back of the scandal. The scandal keeps the game in the paper. When it's in the paper, it's in front of the eyes of the punter and the dribbler. It wraps them up into a bit of a frenzy and they watch and attend the games. Now, Nita's sitting there going, listen, our attendances could be better. Eyeballs on screens could be better. What are we missing here? What's the common denominator? Oh, we're not in the paper enough. Why aren't we in the paper? Not enough scandal. She's one step, but she's a fucking pioneer out there.
She is a pioneer.
She's a fucking pioneer. She knows how the world works. Yeah, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, the lefties might sit there and go, that's fucking horrendous, but that's the way of the world,
That's
mate.
it.
It's the way of the world. Now
She's out there. She's a groundbreaker.
She's a groundbreaker. She's breaking ground. She's gone out there. She towed up a couple of security guards.
I mean, which is no mean feat. Again, I don't know whether there's like a female league equivalent in the security guard game where there's like female security guards. I haven't seen it, but she, I would assume, has towed up a couple of male security guards.
I don't see many female security guards. Not that there aren't any, but I don't often see them. So I'm going to
Certainly not at Northies.
Not at fucking Northies, bro. I'm assuming she's towed up a couple of blokes, which is, one, a great endorsement for the strength and the power of the female
rugby league player.
That's right.
5'2".
See? Now I'm interested. Now I'm like, when's Nita playing?
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Do you know what I mean?
I want to see this gal get round.
Tell me you aren't now pumped to see Nita lay some chicks out in the NRLW. You are.
Can you, Matt, when's the NRLW on? Is it already on?
It's normally the end of the year.
Okay, so we got some time.
Nita's, mate, the more I think about this, the more switched on I'm now realising Nita is.
Yeah.
Is she a skipper? She's not captain, she should be.
She definitely should be. And I mean, I'm not ruling out, look, maybe it's too early, but a statue outside Northies.
I'm not ruling out a statue.
An award in her name.
Well, I think you call it the Nita.
Or a bursary for young, like some sort of young rugby league girls coming through.
That's right. Look, we'll pay the way for you.
We'll pay, exactly. We'll
you don't
pay
need
for
a job.
No.
You get the Nita scholarship.
You get the Nita scholarship and, you're allowed like 2 free benders at Northies a month.
Yep, which is probably more than enough.
Yeah.
I think. You're being selfish asking for more than 2. But I like the whole thing. For Nita Maynard to go down to Northies and towel up a couple of bouncers at 5'2", I think is a tremendous endorsement for the game.
Shit-faced and getting kicked out. Like, tick, 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 tick.
Tick. Give her a game.
Put the C on her fucking chest.
Give her a game and then put the C on her chest. That's right.
So shout out to Nita.
I'll give you the fucking hot tip. Nothing's going to grow the game like that.
I will watch that game. Whenever Nita's first game back is, Eddie, I feel like
100%.
we're going to make a point of watching
Mate, Nita's now like a martyr's not the right word, but like she's
the biggest name in female rugby league.
Easily, mate.
Female sport in the country.
Easily. And that's no disrespect to the other tremendous talent running around. It's just that Nita's on the fucking tip of my tongue now.
Exactly. She has got the tongues wagging.
And wagging good.
Yeah. Shout out to Nita. Shout out to Nita, official NRLW player of the podcast.
That's right.
Look, just a couple more, Eddie, to whip through here. So, look, firstly, you may have seen it over the socials if you're following footy players and all that sort of shit. But also if you're following John Hopewadi, because that's the one who brought it to my attention initially. But Buzz Rothfield, the official fuckwit in the NRL media landscape, with the greatest respect, he came out with an article last week that was, sorry, I've got my phone up here just because I'm getting Hopewadi up. He came up with an article last week about Manasi Finau, who, if you don't know, is a Manly Sea Eagles player, a hooker, who probably would have us in the top 8. He's in a no-fault stand-down with the NRL because he's been alleged to have stabbed someone at a Mormon dance party. All very normal things. Alleged, though, right? So innocent until proven guilty. But he's been out of the game for, I think it's 2 years now, or this is the second year?
I think it was 20... This is
the second year.
It was the end of 2019, so he missed 2020.
And then he's
currently missing 2021.
Now, he has been going to rehab for, I think, maybe a prescription medication, sort of dependence, I don't know, and some depression that's directly related to the shit he's going through right now. And Buzz, who just doesn't really, they just don't, for people that have so many opinions about the way players should behave and, X, Y, Z and what's right and what's wrong and fucking this, the level of insensitivity that they show, specifically Buzz Rothfield, is fucking wild. So he's put this headline, the fucking full front page or back page of the sports lift out. Manly stars drug rehab, banned hooker treated for depression and painkiller addiction. The guy's got depression, and
how is that a headline?
It's misleading, but it's also not helpful, right? I think Brandon Smith and a couple other people were sharing stuff around, going what about the alternate headline of rugby league player seeks help for depression? Rugby league player, but there's so much around the game around are you okay? And not just the game, society, right? It's okay if you feel depressed, go get help. It's not going to be, you're not going to be fucking ashamed for it on the back of a newspaper. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, what I did like to see was John Hopewadi, of Hopper Huddle fame, of Finger in the Bum fame, of one of the great rugby league characters all-time fame, and one of the great follows on Instagram fame, Hop, HOP 555, if you want to get on there and follow him. He's put up a picture, as you can see, of the back page, Eddie, and with the caption here, Buzz is a, all caps, dog computer warrior, but when he sees you in person, he tries to be your friend, which is what I've said before, right? He bags fucking people after the fact. But anyway, with the hashtag, this is obviously the famous Hopper hashtags that have no end. Hashtag, hope I run into you by yourself. Hashtag, so no space yet. Old or not, you will be getting slapped. Hashtag at the end. And then Manasi commented underneath going, Hopper v Buzz fight night. I'll get the white towel for you just in case I have to throw it in. Lol. But I think I saw Manase put one up somewhere as well. He just commented something, going, fuck, can I catch a break? Again, obviously if you stab someone,
innocent until proven guilty. It's before the courts. You can't make any assumptions.
No.
I like to think he's innocent.
Yeah.
I think that's where it'll go based on vibe and vibe alone.
Vibe alone.
But for Buzz to fucking drag his name through the back papers like that is so unnecessary, but it's so Buzz.
Yeah.
The bloke cannot fucking help himself. He cannot, it's like he's got some sort of syndrome where he's just obsessed with fucking people over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His opinions now seem to be so out of touch.
There's almost
with
something
reality.
where it seems like they become more extreme. Or maybe they were always like this, but now when you've got your bloke in a bars, your NRL roast, your YKTRs and all those sort of rugby league media pages, your Clarkie's column, where they are so unapologetically focused on the positive, that you can see the gulf in sort of perspectives where you're like, oh shit.
Is that like an old legacy media thing? You know, like I'm pretty sure Rupert invented this shit, the scandalous headline.
I'm sure it's kind of like like with the newspapers, it was the sort of like the analog click through where it's like, oh, we get the headline on the back and front page being as fucking salacious as possible, then you're gonna buy it. And on the same as on the internet, it's like, oh well, we have the biggest clickbait headline possible. You're gonna click through, which is like the equivalent of buying the paper or you're buying the yarn.
Is his MO, do you think, to be fucking outrageous to draw in the clicks?
Buzz?
Like, yeah. Or do you
to
think
a degree, yeah.
Like, because a lot of the shit he says seems to be the opposite of how people feel. You know what I mean?
Listen, I think that there maybe like you could, to a degree, have sympathy for journos in the sense that the model that they're operating in is you have to be scandalous because that's the only way people are going to give a fuck, especially when a lot of it's behind subscription models and all that sort of shit where it's like, you know, paywalls. So they are stuck in the sort of washing machine of the media world, of the legacy media world, where it's like, I kind of have to do this fucked up story about Manasi because if I just write a story about, you know, sponsors, the new sponsor at fucking Spotless Stadium, I'm probably not going to have a job next week. So in some sense, I get it, but also like there's maybe a way that you could there's definitely a way that you could have done that Manase one better without it being almost like he's doing something wrong by going to rehab.
Yeah. No, he's not doing anything wrong. He's doing something right. Yeah. Really.
Anyway.
Did you see Buzz and his opinions on Origin eligibility? Buzz is pumped up.
Is he?
Buzz thinks that Origin should be a fucking free-for-all and it should just be the best players in the game.
Buzz is up and out of the Zimmer frame.
Yeah, he's up and out of the Zimmer frame and he's, you know, more outrageous cash for comment, if that's the right term.
Probably not.
Probably not. But you know what? Fuck it. It is now. He wants to see the best players playing in Origin because he thinks it's good for the game.
You know what that's called, Buzz? International Rugby League.
You know what fucking flopped, Buzz? The All-Star game. No one gave a fuck. No. People only care now when it's the Indigenous versus the Maori. Everyone's like, oh, that's sick. That means something. Like, what are you talking about? We've had Origin now since the 80s. What, 1980 I think it was?
Something like that.
Dior. And it's been going fantastically, if you don't mind.
No
He's
one's
like,
like,
oh, but ratings are going down. It's like, bruh, have they fallen off a cliff to a point where no one fucking watches anymore? Last time I checked, it fills every fucking paper. The games are sellouts always, and it rates its dick off.
And what, like, is he going back? How many years is he going off with ratings? Because last year it was at the end of the year. It was weird. It was a COVID year. So, like, I mean, you scrap those ratings completely. Don't even use those ratings in calculation. Like, the game, no one's going, you know what needs some fucking addressing? The Origin. You know what needs a fucking state of Origin could be fucking improved? Like, what are we talking about? Origin managed to maintain my excitement, my interest for 8 straight years without winning a series.
I was around it. I was pumped.
Everyone was around it. It was obviously hard, but like the game had enough. It wasn't like you're going, geez, I wish we could have, you know, people.
Oh, God. At the time, I wasn't going, geez, I wish Sam Burgess was playing.
No.
This would be unbelievable if Sam was playing. Like, that's not what it's about.
It just doesn't make really any sense. It's sort of that. It becomes like the American All Stars, like the Eastern Conference, East and West All Stars, and all that sort of shit.
Mate,
just like,
the Queensland side rolled out last year was like to the state of Origin supporter who doesn't watch a whole lot of rugby league would have been like, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah. Exactly. Conor McGregor, who the fuck is that guy?
Do you know what I mean? It was a bit like that. They rolled out some people that fucking, quite frankly, most of the rugby league community wouldn't have heard of.
Correct.
But it didn't matter at all.
No, they got the win, and they got a famous win, which you would have lost because they would have had Taumalolo and fucking whoever else in the side if you were just allowing it to be a free-for-all, and then it loses all of its meaning. It loses all of the passion and pride that is built and fostered within New South Welshmen and Queenslanders who hate each other around Origin time.
Tom, you know what? It becomes an all-star game. You know what has never done well in any code, in any sport? the All-Star game. Like, they have the All-Star weekend in the NBA, and it's okay. It's fucking pretty shit basketball. It's just a shitload of alley-oops. Like, no one's really trying. They don't defend at all. It's, quite frankly, it's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
The one they do before the NFL, before the Super Bowl, I can't even remember what it's fucking called. I think they have it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
No one gives a fuck. It's shit out.
Yeah.
The AFL's got nothing going on.
No.
What's their little thing? I'm sure they've tried the All-Star concept here and there. It doesn't work.
They've tried an Origin, I think, once upon a time as well. No one cares.
It ain't even close to broken.
No.
Like, it's not. In fact, it's the opposite of broken. And fucking Dr. Buzz is out here trying to fix it.
Well, I mean,
You'll kill it, mate.
New South Wales win 2, Queensland win 1. It's back to this like back and forth, push and pull. The states are competitive. Like this year, without knowing what the teams will be, and one of the great rugby league pastimes is picking Origin sides after a round of football. But based on sort of just knowing and assuming who will be there after the last couple of years, like largely, it'll be competitive as fuck again. It's not an 8 straight, we're getting pumped by fucking 12 immortals in the opposition. Like, this is, again, back to a nice even balance of players across both states and a competitive game of footy. Great footy to watch, points being scored, fucking everything you want, and people up and about. It's the most watched fucking thing in the country every year, including like Victorians get around it. There isn't, the AFL Grand Final is probably the only AFL game that gets other people, non-AFL fans, watching AFL, and even that wouldn't rate as much as the State of Origin, you would assume.
I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I don't get it. Who is honestly sitting there crying out for Tamalolo to be in Origin?
Is Buzz got all of his
But do people care that much? Yeah, Tamalolo's a great fucking player. Great fucking player. Arguably the most damaging back rower of all time. But like, I don't need to see him in maroon for me to care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me one iota. So the answer, brah, is no.
Anyway.
The answer's no.
The answer's no. We've decided.
Anyone's
Obviously, everyone was waiting to hear our take on it. It's a no. So, sorry, it ain't happening.
It's a no. Am I pumped for Origin? Is it just around the corner?
Just around the corner.
Oh, it's just around the corner. We'll start to ramp up the rhetoric.
Yep.
Obviously, 2020 was, just so everyone's clear, was a COVID year.
Wiped from the...
we're in discussions with the NRL around us wiping it from the record book. Why are we... No, not salty. Not salty at all. I just think that, sometimes you've got to make the hard decisions, but the right decision.
Yep.
I think the right decision in a COVID year is to strike it from the record book, or at least... highlight it or asterisk it.
Yeah.
I'd be comfortable with that, just so people know, that one wasn't...
What was the asterisk? COVID year doesn't really count. We kept it in there because they didn't break any laws, but
But it doesn't really count.
No. So, we'll wait and see there. 2 Parramatta fans punching on in the stands with each other. I mean, if ever you wanted to, make a connection between the undeniable pressure that club and its fan base feels about the impending implosion of the Sun, there it is in plain sight to see.
Oh, you wanted a real life working example? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Look, they got the win as well.
I know.
They beat West Tigers and they're still frustrated. They're frustrated because they're like, these wins mean nothing.
Yeah.
And they don't.
They mean absolutely nothing. And it was like they also weren't convincing against the Tigers, which I think is almost like, it doesn't matter if we win, it's about how we win. We should be beating the shit out of the Tigers, but we can't because we're not good. So there's no way we're winning the comp.
Well, it's just, I think they turn up because they go, well, we can't win the comp because, the sun will eat the earth. Maybe we come out here and we win well against, a pretty ordinary West Tigers outfit. But even they couldn't do that, which brings grown men to punch on.
That's it. They're on edge. They're all on edge. They're all frustrated. It's like, the Parramatta the adult Parramatta fan now, who's 40, goes, I haven't seen a Parramatta premiership. My dad did, and my dad always tells me it was good, but Dad also doesn't really love me that much. Dad's, was sort of distant. And
Dad loved the club more than me.
Dad loved the club more than me, and I just want to be able to see a comp, Parra win a comp so that maybe that'll connect us. Maybe that's how me and Dad connect.
That's the link. Dad loves the club. Dad doesn't love me because I've never seen the club win.
Parra have to win for me to love Dad, for Dad to love me and us to connect. So obviously these dudes are on edge. They're wound so tight, like fuck.
So tight.
They go, do I have to wait 5 billion years? Unless modern medicine fucking pulls its finger out of its ass, I'm not going to be here for that.
Yep, modern medicine, that's the key, but unlikely.
Unlikely.
Don't know how the medicine and the sun are linked, but you know.
Well, I mean, if he's trying to give himself
He wants the Alexa, like...
The modern day Parramatta fan is going to give himself the best opportunity. Let's say they've got 5 billion years, right, to win a comp. These Parramatta fans have got, at best, another 50 years. Like the 40-year-old Parramatta fan has average of best another 50 years in them. Well, so we need modern medicine to pull its finger out for them to give themselves the best opportunity for not only their dad to still be alive, but for them to still be alive to, you know. I mean, they'll wait 5 billion years. It's probably not going to happen.
No, look, I'd be ruling out a lifetime. I think a lifetime is improbable.
Yep.
Completely improbable.
Yep.
But look, tension's running high out there. I don't know what else I want to say about that, Tom.
I don't think there's too much more to add, really, other than the fact that if you wanted a workable example of the pressure building on the Parramatta faithful about the impending implosion of the sun and the swallowing of the earth and everything that exists and has existed, then that was it.
There you go.
Could you two just not talk anymore?